My husband threw me out after believing his daughter's lies. 3 weeks later, he asked if I'd reflected. I gave him divorce papers and his daughter lost it. The text came at 2 a.m. Have you had time to think about what you did? I stared at Landon's message in the dark of my sister's guest room. 3 weeks since he kicked me out based on Mackenzie's claims that I was sabotaging her mental health. No proof, no conversation, just her tears and his blind belief. It started over dishes. I'd asked his 22-year-old daughter to clean the kitchen after she made herself a full pasta dinner at midnight, leaving sauce on the stove, cheese on the counter, and every pot we owned in the sink. By morning, fruit flies were already gathering. This is toxic, she told Landon. She's always attacking me, making me feel worthless in my own home. Her own home, the one I'd been paying half the mortgage on for 6 years while she lived rent-free in our finished basement, sleeping until 2 p.m. and finding herself. I tried to defend myself that night, listed the facts calmly, but Landon just kept saying, "Look how upset she is. Look what you've done to her." Within an hour, I was packing a bag. Now 3 weeks later, he wanted to know if I'd reflected. I'd reflected all right. Reflected on 6 years of walking on eggshells. 6 years of "you're not my mom" every time I suggested she contribute anything. 6 years of watching her manipulate him with tears whenever she didn't get her way. I reflected on how I'd convinced myself it would get better. That once she matured, once she moved out, once she got her life together, things would improve. I'd been waiting for once for 6 years. My sister had been more direct. She's never going to move out. Why would she? Free rent, free food, and a dad who believes everything she says. And he just proved that if she cries hard enough, she can get rid of anyone who threatens that setup. I'd spent the first week crying, the second week angry. By the third week, I'd made an appointment with a divorce attorney. I responded to Landon's text. Yes, meet me at the house tomorrow at noon. The next morning, I dressed carefully. Not for him, but for me. I wanted to feel strong for what came next. When I pulled into our driveway, I sat in the car for a moment. 6 years of my life were in that house. 6 years of trying to build something with a man who, when it came down to it, would throw me away based on his daughter's word alone. Landon opened the door looking rough, unshaven, his shirt wrinkled. Mackenzie stood behind him in the living room, arms crossed, that same expression she always wore around me. Smug satisfaction barely hidden under fake concern. "Come in," Landon said. "I'm glad you're ready to talk." I walked past him and stayed standing. "Let's make this quick. Carly," his voice had that wounded tone. "I've been thinking a lot too. This has been hard on all of us, but I think if we commit to family therapy, if you apologize to Mackenzie and we set some boundaries, we can fix this." Boundaries? I almost laughed. "Yes," he nodded, encouraged. "Mackenzie and I discussed it. She's willing to forgive you if you acknowledge how your behavior affected her. And going forward, maybe you could be more mindful of." I pulled the manila envelope from my bag. His words died. "What's that?" "Divorce papers. I had them drawn up last week. I set them on the coffee table between us." I did reflect, Landon. I reflected on 6 years of being a guest in my own home. 6 years of financing your daughter's extended childhood while she convinced you I was the problem. "Dad," Mackenzie's voice went sharp. "Dad, do something." Landon picked up the envelope with shaking hands. "Carly, wait. You can't be serious. Let's talk about this. We are talking. I'm telling you, it's over. But the house, our marriage, you're just going to throw it all away." "Throw it away?" My voice stayed level. "You threw me out 3 weeks ago without a conversation, without even asking for my side. Your daughter said I was toxic, and within an hour, my bags were packed. I was protecting her. Come see what you've been protecting." I opened the basement door and Landon saw it. A second kitchen, dishes for two, a small dining table with candles, a calendar marked with date nights in Mackenzie's handwriting. She'd photoshopped me out of our wedding picture and put herself in a dress next to him. Anniversary cards signed in his handwriting she'd been practicing. Meal plans for romantic dinners. Mackenzie had been living a complete fantasy life down here where she was his partner. Hanging on the back of the door was my wedding dress, altered to fit her, and Mackenzie was standing behind us wearing it. Landon's face went completely white, like all the blood had just drained straight out of his body. He opened his mouth but no sound came out at first. Just this strangled noise in the back of his throat. "Mackenzie," he finally managed, his voice shaking so hard I could barely understand him. "Mackenzie, we talked about this. You can't show her yet. Yet." That single word hit me like a physical blow. My whole body went cold. Not, "You shouldn't have done this," or "What the hell are you thinking?" or even, "Take that off right now." Yet. Like this was something they'd actively discussed. Like there was a timeline, a plan, a right moment that just hadn't arrived. "What do you mean yet?" My voice came out flat, dead. Mackenzie's face was bright red, tears streaming down her cheeks, but she didn't move to take off my wedding dress. She just stood there in it, her hands smoothing down the altered fabric over her hips. The dress I'd worn on what was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. She'd taken it and made it hers. Landon held up both hands like he was trying to calm a dangerous animal. "Carly, okay, just listen to me for a second. This looks bad. I know it looks bad. But you have to understand, Mackenzie just needs more time to adjust to changes. We've been working through some things in her therapy sessions, and her counselor, Dr. Foster, she said we shouldn't disrupt Mackenzie's coping mechanisms too quickly, or it could trigger a serious setback. Her coping mechanism," I repeated slowly, "is wearing my wedding dress and pretending to be your wife." "It's not like that," he said, but his eyes were darting around, looking anywhere but at me. "It's more complicated than that. She's been through a lot, Carly. Her mother abandoned her when she was 16, just packed up and left one day without even a note. Do you have any idea what that does to a kid? She has severe attachment issues, abandonment trauma. This is just her way of processing security and family bonds. It's symbolic." I stared at him. He actually believed this. Or maybe he'd just told himself this story so many times that he'd convinced himself it was true, because the alternative was too disturbing to face. I'm taking pictures of everything, I said, pulling out my phone. Carly, please don't do this. Landon moved toward me, his hand reaching out. If you embarrass her like this, if you make her feel exposed and vulnerable, it'll set back months of therapeutic progress, maybe years. You don't understand how fragile she is right now. Fragile? I looked at Mackenzie, who was still standing there in my dress, still crying, but I could see it now. That little smile at the corners of her mouth, that gleam of satisfaction in her eyes. She doesn't look fragile to me. I started photographing everything. The shrine, the photoshopped pictures where she'd literally cut me out and pasted herself in, wearing a wedding dress I'd never seen before, but that matched the style of mine. The practice signatures covering an entire page. Mackenzie trying to copy Landon's handwriting over and over. The meal plans labeled Our Anniversary Dinner and Romantic Night In. The candles, the wine glasses set for two, the playlist titled Our Songs. Landon kept talking the whole time, his voice getting more desperate with each photo I took. You're overreacting. You're taking this out of context. Mackenzie just needs time. She needs patience. She needs understanding. Dr. Foster said that confronting the fantasy too directly could be harmful. We have to let her work through this at her own pace. How long? I asked, turning to face him. How long has Dr. Foster been telling you to let her work through this? Landon's face went red. He looked at the floor. How long have you known about this basement, Landon? Silence. How long have you known your daughter thinks she's your wife? It's not like that, he said again, but his voice was barely a whisper. Then what's it like? Explain it to me. Mackenzie spoke up then, her voice small and wounded, and so practiced it made my skin crawl. You don't understand our relationship. You've never understood it. Dad and I, we have something special. Something you couldn't ever be part of because you didn't know him before. You don't know what we've been through together. When I got to the calendar marking their supposed anniversary, I stopped and zoomed in on the date. 2 years ago. The date was from 2 years ago, just a few months after I'd moved in with them. 2 years, I said out loud. She's been building this fantasy for 2 years. Landon flinched. You knew, didn't you? Based on what you just said about therapy and Dr. Foster and not disrupting her coping mechanisms. You've known about this for a while. I've been trying to help her, he said desperately. I've been trying to do the right thing. The right thing would have been to shut this down immediately. The right thing would have been to tell her that this is inappropriate and disturbing, and she needs real psychiatric help, not a therapist who's apparently fine with her patient playing house with her own father. Dr. Foster is a professional, Landon said, his voice getting defensive now. She has a PhD in developmental trauma. She knows what she's doing. Does Dr. Foster know about the wedding dress? He didn't answer. I finished photographing everything, every disturbing detail of the basement shrine Mackenzie had built. When I was done, I walked back upstairs without another word. Behind me, I could hear Mackenzie crying harder, her sobs turning into those loud, dramatic wails she always did when she wanted Landon's attention. And I could hear him comforting her, his voice soft and soothing, telling her it was okay, it was all going to be okay, that I just didn't understand. That was the part that really got me. Even now, even after I'd found this nightmare in our basement, he was comforting her, reassuring her, making her feel like she was the victim in this situation. I got in my car and just sat there for a minute, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles went white. My hands were shaking. My whole body was shaking. I felt like I was going to throw up. I drove back to my sister's house on autopilot, barely seeing the road in front of me. When I pulled into her driveway, I just sat there in the car, staring at nothing. My phone started buzzing, text after text lighting up the screen. Jessica. Hey, are you okay? Ran into Landon at the grocery store earlier and he seemed really worried about you. My stomach dropped. I opened the text thread with Jessica. Why would he be worried? I typed back, my fingers fumbling on the screen. He said you've been going through some personal stuff and needed space to work on yourself. He seemed really torn up about it, honestly. Said he's hoping you'll come back soon but wants to give you time. Are you okay? What's going on? I stared at the message. Personal stuff. Needed space. Working on myself. He was already spinning a story, already controlling the narrative. I called Jessica immediately. She picked up on the second ring. Carly, I've been so worried. What's going on? Landon made it sound like, what exactly did he say? I interrupted. That you'd been struggling with some things and left to figure stuff out. He made it sound like maybe you were having some kind of breakdown or mental health crisis. He was really careful not to say too much, which honestly made me more worried. Are you okay? A breakdown. A mental health crisis. Of course. Of course that's what he'd tell people. Jessica, I'm fine. I didn't leave to work on myself. Landon kicked me out. What? No. He said you needed space that you left on your own. He's lying. His daughter accused me of being toxic because I asked her to clean up her own mess in the kitchen, and within an hour he had me packing my bags. There was a long pause on the other end. That doesn't sound like Landon. I mean, he's always seemed so reasonable, and there it was. That doubt in her voice. He'd gotten to her first, planted the seed that I was unstable, and now even my own friends were questioning my version of events. I know how it sounds, I said, but I'm telling you the truth. Okay, Jessica said, but I could hear the uncertainty. Okay, if you say so. Do you need anything? Do you want to talk about it? I have to go, I said and hung up. I started checking with other friends. Same story everywhere. Landon had been busy in the 3 weeks since he'd thrown me out, carefully building a narrative where I was the one with problems, where I'd left because I was struggling, where he was the concerned husband patiently waiting for his troubled wife to come home. I needed to know how far this went. I needed to know what he'd told his family. I called Landon's sister Rita. She'd always been kind to me, Always included me in family stuff, even before Landon and I got married. Oh, honey. Rita's voice was warm with sympathy when she answered. How are you holding up? What did Landon tell you? I asked directly. There was a pause. A long pause that told me everything I needed to know before she even spoke. He said you needed some space to work through some things. That it was pretty sudden, but he's trying to be supportive and give you room to figure out what you need. Did he say why I left? Another pause. He implied maybe you were dealing with some mental health struggles. He didn't say it outright, but the way he talked about it. We all kind of read between the lines. I closed my eyes and pressed my palm against my forehead. What else did he say? That he's worried about you. That he hopes you'll come back when you're ready. His mother has been beside herself, honestly. She keeps asking me if we should reach out to you or if that would make things worse, if we should give you space. Rita, can I tell you what actually happened? Of course. I walked her through everything. The dishes, Mackenzie's accusation, being thrown out within an hour with barely time to pack a bag, the 3 weeks of silence except for one text asking if I'd reflected on what I'd done. And then today, the basement shrine. I was still sitting in my car in my sister's driveway, and I pulled up the photos on my phone as I talked, describing each one to Rita in detail. The photoshopped wedding pictures, the practiced signatures, the calendar marking an anniversary, the meal plans for romantic dinners, my wedding dress altered to fit Mackenzie. Rita was completely silent for a long time after I finished. So long I thought maybe the call had dropped. Rita? Jesus Christ, she finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. Carly, I'm so sorry. We had no idea. Oh my God, we had no idea. I'm guessing the whole family thinks I just abandoned him out of nowhere. Mom's been crying about it for weeks. She keeps saying she doesn't understand what happened, that you two seemed so happy at Christmas, that she thought you were good for Landon. She's been worried sick about you, asking if anyone's heard from you, if anyone knows if you're safe. I felt a twist of guilt. Patricia had always been good to me. The idea of her worrying about me, thinking I'd just vanished, hurt. There's a birthday dinner for Dad in 2 weeks, Rita continued. The whole family will be there. Mom's planning this big thing, all the kids and grandkids. Landon and Mackenzie are coming. I bet they were. Rita, I need to set the record straight with the family. Can I come to that dinner? Of course you can come. But Carly, listen to me. You need to bring proof of what you're telling me. Because what you just described, it's going to be really hard for some people to believe. Mom and Dad think the world of Landon. And Mackenzie, she's always been so sweet to everyone at family events. I have photos of everything. Then bring them, show everyone, because they need to see this with their own eyes. After I hung up with Rita, I sat in the car for another 20 minutes, just processing. Then I finally went inside. My sister Kelly was in the kitchen making dinner. She took one look at my face and put down her knife. What happened? I showed her the photos. Kelly's face went through about 15 different expressions in the span of 30 seconds. Shock, disgust, disbelief, anger. What the actual fuck, she finally said. That's not normal. That's not even close to normal. That's like criminally insane. Landon says it's a coping mechanism for her abandonment issues. A coping mechanism? She's wearing your wedding dress and pretending to be married to her own father. That's not a coping mechanism. That's a mental breakdown. He's known about it for over a year, apparently. Maybe longer. He's been in therapy sessions with her where her therapist told him not to disrupt her fantasy too quickly. Kelly stared at me. What kind of therapist would say that? That's what I want to know. I spent the next few days organizing everything on my laptop. I created a folder and put everything in chronological order. Photos of the basement shrine, screenshots of Landon's texts, including that first one at 2 a.m., asking if I'd reflected, and his message from today with the word yet that had made my blood run cold. Screenshots of the conversations with friends where I'd learned he was telling everyone I'd left because of mental health issues. But I needed more. I needed to understand exactly how deep this went. I needed to see what else Mackenzie had been hiding. I waited until the following Wednesday. Landon had posted on Facebook about taking Mackenzie to her therapy appointment across town. It was with Dr. Foster, and the office was a good 45 minutes away. With the session itself, they'd be gone at least 2 hours. I still had my house key. He hadn't asked for it back, probably because he still thought I'd eventually come crawling back, ready to apologize to Mackenzie and accept whatever terms he set. Walking into that house felt surreal. It had only been 3 weeks and a few days, but everything felt different. The air felt different, like the house itself had changed into something I didn't recognize. I stood in the entryway for a moment, just listening. The silence was heavy, oppressive. I could hear the kitchen clock ticking from where I stood. I went straight upstairs to the master bedroom and stopped dead in the doorway. All our photos were gone. Every single picture of us as a couple had been removed from the walls, from the dresser, from the nightstands. In their place were framed photos of just Landon and Mackenzie, and not just any photos. These were arranged exactly like couple photos. Mackenzie at her college graduation with Landon's arm around her shoulders. Mackenzie and Landon at some restaurant, sitting across from each other with wine glasses, the lighting romantic and dim. Mackenzie and Landon on a hiking trail, his arm around her waist, both of them laughing at the camera. There were dozens of them, arranged in matching frames, hung at eye level, displayed on every surface. It looked like a newlywed's bedroom. It looked like the bedroom of two people in love. I felt bile rise in my throat. I walked to the closet and opened it. My clothes were completely gone except for a few random things I'd left behind in my rush to pack that first night. A jacket I never wore, some old workout clothes. Everything else had been cleared out. In their place, Mackenzie's entire wardrobe. Her dresses hanging where mine used to hang. Her shoes lined up in neat rows where my shoes used to be. Her accessories organized in the drawer I'd used for jewelry. I opened the dresser. Same thing. My clothes gone, replaced entirely by Mackenzie's. Sweaters, jeans, pajamas, pajamas, underwear. She'd moved into the master bedroom completely, systematically erasing every trace of me. I checked the bathroom. My toiletries were gone. My makeup, my skincare products, my hair stuff, all gone. Mackenzie's things lined the counter, her toothbrush in the holder next to Landon's, her shampoo in the shower, her bathrobe hanging on the back of the door. She'd taken over the entire space, and Landon had let her. I went back to the bedroom and opened the nightstand on what used to be my side of the bed. Inside was a leather-bound journal. It was one of those expensive ones from that boutique stationery store downtown, the kind that costs like $50. I opened it and my hand started shaking so badly I almost dropped it. The entries were written like diary entries from a wife. The handwriting was Mackenzie's, this pretty, looping cursive she'd probably practiced for hours. March 15th. Today, Landon and I had breakfast together before he left for work. He made me laugh so hard I almost choked on my coffee. He has this way of knowing exactly what I need to hear when I'm stressed. I'm so lucky to wake up next to him every morning. The date was from 6 months ago. I checked my phone calendar. 6 months ago, I was still living here. I was still sleeping in this bed, and Mackenzie was writing journal entries about waking up next to Landon. I flipped to another entry. April 3rd. Landon was really stressed about the Johnson account at work, so I gave him a back rub when he got home. He said I always know exactly what he needs, that I'm the only one who really understands him. These little moments remind me why our marriage works so well. It's the small things, the daily care and attention. Our marriage. I kept reading, my stomach churning with each entry. April 20th. Our song came on the radio today while we were driving to Home Depot. Landon reached over and took my hand, and we just smiled at each other. These are the moments that make our marriage so special. It's not the big gestures, it's these tiny, perfect moments of connection. May 8th. I'm already planning something special for our anniversary next month. 2 years. I can't believe it's been 2 years already. Time flies when you're happy, I guess. I want to make Landon a special dinner, maybe recreate our first date. He probably doesn't remember the details like I do, but that's okay. That's what I'm here for, to remember the important things. I flipped back to the very first entry. The journal started 2 years ago, right around the time of that date marked on the basement calendar. The first entry was long, almost stream of consciousness. Today is our anniversary. 2 years since everything changed, since I realized that what I felt for Dad wasn't just normal daughter love. It was something deeper, something real. I know society doesn't understand. I know people would judge us if they knew. But what we have is special. It's pure. We've been through so much together, and we understand each other in a way no one else ever could. Carly doesn't see him the way I do. She doesn't appreciate him. She takes him for granted. But I see him, really see him. And one day, everyone else will see it too. One day, this will all make sense to them. I felt like I was reading the diary of someone completely detached from reality. But the scary thing was how rational it all sounded on the page. How convinced she was that this was normal, that this was real, that this was love. I kept flipping through the pages, and they got worse. More detailed, more disturbing. June 14th. I noticed Carly didn't make Landon's coffee the way he likes it this morning. She just poured it and handed it to him without even asking if he wanted cream or sugar. She doesn't pay attention. I would never be so careless. I'd make sure everything was perfect for him. July 2nd. Carly went to bed early with a headache, so Landon and I watched a movie together on the couch. I sat close to him, close enough that our shoulders touched. He didn't move away. I think he likes it when I'm close to him. I think he feels safe with me. August 19th. Carly bought him the wrong brand of razor blades at the store. How can you be married to someone and not know what kind of razor blades they use? I know every single product he uses. I know his routine. I know what he needs. She doesn't pay attention to him like I do. Entry after entry of this. Tiny observations, small criticisms of me, declarations of how much better she understood Landon, how much more she cared about him, how their connection was deeper and more meaningful. Then I got to an entry from about a month ago, right before everything fell apart. My hands went numb reading it. September 28th. Carly got mad at me again today over something completely stupid. She thinks she can control this house, control me, but she's wrong. Landon defended me like he always does. I can see him getting tired of her. I can see the way he looks at her now, with frustration and disappointment. Soon he'll realize what I've known all along, that she doesn't belong here, that she never belonged here, that this house, this life, him, all of it was always meant to be mine. I've been patient. I've been waiting for the right moment, and I think that moment is coming soon. I think soon he'll see that we're better off without her, that we've always been better as just the two of us. She'd been planning this. The whole kitchen incident, the accusation that I was toxic, getting Landon to throw me out. She'd been building up to it for months, maybe years. I photographed every single page of that journal, my hands shaking so hard I had to brace my arms against the nightstand to keep the camera steady. Every disturbing entry, every delusional claim, every reference to our marriage and our anniversary and our love. This wasn't just a basement shrine anymore. This was systematic. This was calculated. Mackenzie hadn't just been living in a fantasy in the basement. She'd been actively working to make that fantasy real, to erase me from the house, from Landon's life, from existence. And the most terrifying part? She'd succeeded. I moved to photograph the bedroom itself, all the couple photos of her and Landon, the closet full of her clothes, the bathroom with her things next to his. I was so focused on getting the right angle of the closet that I didn't hear the front door open downstairs. I didn't hear the footsteps on the stairs. I didn't hear anything until Mackenzie's voice came from right behind me. "What are you doing here?" I spun around. She was standing in the bedroom doorway, still in her jacket from being outside. She must have forgotten something and come back while Landon waited in the car. My phone was in my hand, the photos of the journal still open on the screen. Mackenzie's eyes went to the phone, then to the open nightstand drawer where the journal was visible, then back to my face. Her expression shifted from surprise to something cold and hard. "That's private," she said. "You moved into my bedroom. It's not your bedroom anymore. You left. I was thrown out. Same difference." She walked into the room, getting closer. "You need to leave. Now. Or what? You'll call your dad and tell him I'm being mean to you again?" Something flickered across her face. Anger, but also something else. Something that looked almost like excitement. "You read it, didn't you?" she asked. "The journal." I didn't answer. "Good," she said. And that's when I realized she wasn't upset that I'd found it. She was pleased. "Good. Now you know. Now you understand that this was always going to happen. You were always temporary, Carly. From the very first day you moved in here, you were on borrowed time. You're delusional." "Am I?" She smiled, and it was the most genuine smile I'd ever seen on her face. No fake sweetness, no practiced innocence, just pure satisfaction. "Who's living in this bedroom now? Who's sleeping in that bed? Who's the one Landon comes home to every night? Who's the one he believes when I tell him something? You can call me delusional all you want, but I got exactly what I wanted. You're gone, and I'm here. He's your father. He's the only person who's ever really loved me," she said. And for a second, her voice cracked, something real and raw breaking through. "My mom left. Everyone else left. But Dad stayed. Dad chose me, and he'll keep choosing me, because I'm the one who actually understands him. I'm the one who actually cares about what he needs. This isn't love, Mackenzie. This is obsession. This is—" "Just go," she interrupted. "Get out of this house. Get out of our lives. You already lost. Stop making it harder on yourself." I heard a car door slam outside. Landon's voice calling out, "Mackenzie?" Mackenzie's smile got wider. "Dad's going to be really upset that you broke in here." "I didn't break in. I have a key. Do you think he'll care about that technicality when I'm crying and telling him how scared I was to find you in our bedroom going through our things?" Our bedroom, our things. I pushed past her and headed for the stairs. Behind me, I heard her call out, "Dad, Carly's here. She broke into the house." I made it to my car before Landon caught up with me. He grabbed the driver's side door as I was trying to close it. "What the hell are you doing here?" "Getting my things," I lied. "Mackenzie said you were in our bedroom going through her stuff." "Our bedroom?" "It's our bedroom, Landon. Mine and yours. Or it was. You gave that up when you left. When you kicked me out, you mean. I asked you to leave to protect my daughter from your toxic behavior. That's not the same as kicking you out." I almost laughed. "Almost. Move your hand." "Did you take anything?" "Mackenzie is terrified you took something of hers." "I didn't take anything. Now move." He stepped back and I slammed the door, started the engine, and pulled out of the driveway. In the rearview mirror, I could see Mackenzie standing at the front door, Landon's arm around her shoulders, her face pressed against his chest, the perfect picture of a father comforting his distraught daughter. That night, I got an email from Landon. The subject line was "moving forward." I stared at it for a long time before opening it. "Carly, I've been doing a lot of thinking about us and our future over these past few weeks. I want to reconcile, but we need to do this the right way. I'm proposing we start family therapy, all three of us together. You, me, and Mackenzie. I know you have concerns about her, and I know today's incident probably didn't help, but I really think if you understood what she's been through, you'd be more patient. You'd be more empathetic. Mackenzie has severe abandonment issues stemming from her mother leaving when she was just 16 years old. Her therapist, Dr. Foster, has explained that her coping mechanisms might seem unusual to people who don't understand trauma responses, but they're completely normal given what she's experienced. She needs to feel secure, and part of that security is knowing that the people in her life won't just disappear on her. I'm asking you to work with me here, to be more understanding of her attachment needs. If you can promise to approach Mackenzie with more empathy and patience, if you can commit to respecting her boundaries and her process, I think we can rebuild our marriage. But I need to know you're willing to accept that Mackenzie's needs might look different from what you expected. She's not going anywhere, Carly. She's my daughter, and she'll always be part of my life. The question is whether you can accept that and adapt to it. I think if we go into family therapy with open hearts and a real commitment to understanding each other, we can get past this rough patch. Dr. Foster has already said she'd be willing to take us on as clients. She thinks it could be really beneficial for all three of us to work through these issues together in a safe, mediated environment. Let me know your thoughts. I'm willing to put in the work if you are. Love, Landon. I read it 3 times, looking for any sign that he understood how completely insane the situation was. Any acknowledgement that his daughter's behavior was inappropriate and disturbing. Any recognition that what I'd found in the basement and the bedroom was alarming. There was nothing. He genuinely saw Mackenzie's behavior as valid trauma responses that just needed patience and understanding. He genuinely thought the problem was me not being empathetic enough to his daughter's need to play house as his wife. I didn't respond to the email. I forwarded it to Rita instead with just one line. "This is what I'm dealing with." She called me 5 minutes later. "He wants you to go to therapy with them? With Mackenzie?" Apparently. "Carly, that's insane. She's not your stepdaughter with boundary issues. She's actively trying to replace you. She's living in your bedroom. She's wearing your clothes. She thinks she's married to her own father. Landon thinks it's a coping mechanism. It's not a coping mechanism. It's a psychiatric emergency. Has he always been this blind when it comes to her?" I thought about it. Kind of, yeah. From the day I met them, he's always defended her, always made excuses for her behavior. But it's gotten so much worse in the last couple years, since she started building her fantasy. "Yeah." Rita was quiet for a moment. "Are you still planning to come to Dad's birthday dinner?" "Definitely. Bring everything, Carly. Every photo, every journal entry, every text. because the family needs to see all of this. They need to understand what you've been living with. 2 days later, Rita called me again. I went to Sunday dinner at Mom's today. How was it? Uncomfortable as hell. Mackenzie was there with Landon. And? Carly, she was all over him. Hand on his arm constantly, head on his shoulder, sitting so close to him she was practically in his lap. It was weird. Really weird. Did anyone else notice? Some people thought it was sweet, that she's being so supportive while he's going through the separation. But my husband kept giving me these looks like, is this normal? And afterward, my cousin Beth pulled me aside and asked if anyone else thought Mackenzie was acting possessive. What did you say? I didn't want to start rumors without proof, so I just said I thought the dynamic was a little intense. But Beth said she'd noticed it at the last few family gatherings too. The way Mackenzie touches him, the way she looks at him, the way she positions herself as like the woman of the house when they're together. Because in her mind, she is the woman of the house. And Landon doesn't see anything wrong with it. He thinks it's touching. He thinks it shows how close they are, how much she depends on him. Rita made a disgusted sound. This is so much worse than I thought. The next week and a half passed slowly. I organized all my evidence into a presentation on my laptop. Photos of the basement shrine with the photoshopped wedding pictures, the practice signatures, the calendar, the meal plans, the candles, photos of the master bedroom takeover with all the couple photos, the closet full of Mackenzie's clothes, the bathroom with her things next to his, screenshots of journal entries where Mackenzie referred to herself as Landon's wife, described their marriage, criticized me for not understanding him the way she did, the entry where she talked about planning to drive me away, Landon's text from that first meeting with the word yet that had revealed he'd been discussing this fantasy with Mackenzie as if it were something real that just needed better timing, his email about family therapy, about accepting Mackenzie's attachment needs, about me needing to be more patient with her coping mechanisms. I organized it all chronologically so the story would be clear, so the family could see the progression, could understand that this wasn't just one weird incident. This was 2 years of systematic delusion and manipulation. The night before the birthday dinner, I was reviewing everything one more time when my phone rang. Landon. I almost sent it to voicemail, but curiosity won out. What? Rita told me you're planning to come to Dad's birthday dinner tomorrow. It's a family event. I'm still family until the divorce is final. Carly, please don't make a scene. Please don't embarrass Mackenzie in front of everyone. She's been through enough. She doesn't deserve to be humiliated. I'm just planning to tell the truth. The truth? His voice got sharp, angry. Your version of the truth? Your twisted interpretation of a daughter's love for her father? Because I've already explained to the family what's really going on. That you've been struggling with some things, that you left suddenly because you were overwhelmed. They understand that you're going through something difficult right now. You told them I'm crazy. I told them you've been having a hard time. If you show up tomorrow and try to turn my family against me with your wild accusations about Mackenzie, you'll just prove to everyone that you're not thinking clearly. You'll just make yourself look worse. Is that a threat? It's reality, Carly. They already think you're unstable. Showing up and ranting about how my daughter is secretly in love with me or whatever insane theory you've concocted, it's only going to make them more concerned about your mental state. I'm trying to protect you from yourself here. How thoughtful of you. I'm serious. Don't do this. Don't make things worse for everyone. Just stay away, work on yourself, and maybe in a few months when you're thinking more clearly we can talk about reconciliation. There's not going to be a reconciliation, Landon. There's going to be a divorce, and you're going to give me my half of the house equity, and then I never have to see you or your disturbed daughter ever again. He was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was cold. If you try to poison my family against me, if you try to destroy my relationship with them, you will regret it. I promise you that. Noted. See you tomorrow. I hung up before he could say anything else. The next evening, I arrived at Bill and Patricia's house at exactly 6 p.m. I dressed carefully, nothing too casual but nothing too formal. I wanted to look put together, stable, credible. My sister Kelly had offered to come with me for moral support, but I'd said no. This was something I needed to do alone. Plus, having someone else there might make it look like I needed backup, like I wasn't confident in my own story. I had my laptop in my bag. Patricia answered the door. Her smile was tight, polite, but not warm. The same smile you'd give a distant acquaintance, not the warm hug she used to give me. Carly, we weren't sure you'd actually come. I wouldn't miss Bill's birthday. Of course. She stepped aside to let me in. Everyone's in the living room. I walked in and felt the temperature drop. Conversations stopped mid-sentence. Landon's brother Jeffrey gave me a small, awkward wave from where he stood by the fireplace. His wife looked away quickly, suddenly very interested in the pattern on the carpet. Rita came over immediately and squeezed my hand. "I'm glad you're here," she said quietly. Landon was sitting on the couch, and pressed against his side, her body molded to his from shoulder to hip, was Mackenzie. She was wearing one of my dresses, the green one with the little flowers that I'd left hanging in the closet. She'd tailored it to fit her, taken it in at the waist, and shortened the hem. She saw me looking and smiled. Not the fake sweet smile she usually put on for the family, a real smile. A satisfied smirk that said mine now. "Carly," Landon stood up quickly, dislodging Mackenzie, who made a small sound of protest. "I didn't think you'd actually show up. I mean, after our conversation last night. Why wouldn't I come to Bill's birthday?" Mackenzie had rearranged herself on the couch, legs tucked under her, watching me with that same satisfied expression. Patricia cleared her throat. "Well, everyone's here now. Let's eat." Dinner was the most uncomfortable hour of my life. I sat between Rita and her husband David, which put me directly across the table from Landon and Mackenzie. Mackenzie had immediately reclaimed her position plastered to Landon's side. Her hand rested on his arm while she ate, Her body turned toward him even though he was trying to have a conversation with his father. Every few minutes, she'd lean in close and whisper something in his ear, and he'd nod or whisper something back. It was the kind of physical intimacy you'd see between a couple, not a father and daughter, and I could see some of the family members noticing it. Jeffrey's wife kept glancing over, her forehead creased with confusion. David had stopped eating and was just staring at them with an expression I couldn't quite read. Patricia kept making little comments throughout the meal. Some people don't value commitment anymore. It takes real work to maintain a marriage through difficult times. Some people just give up instead of fighting for what they have. Each comment was clearly aimed at me. Each one was another little jab, another way of saying I'd abandoned her son without understanding what really happened. I ate my chicken and waited. After dinner, after everyone had sung happy birthday and eaten cake, after the initial chaos of dessert and coffee had settled down, I stood up. Before everyone leaves, there's something I need to share with all of you. Landon's face went pale. Carly, don't do this. Don't do what? Rita asked. Let her talk, Landon. This isn't the time or place, he said, his voice tight. When would be the right time? I pulled out my laptop. When would be the right time for your family to know the truth? Bill spoke up from the head of the table. What truth? I connected my laptop to their TV. I'd already queued everything up in order, ready to go. For those of you who might not know the full story, Landon told me 4 weeks ago that I needed to leave our house. He said it was because I was being toxic to Mackenzie and sabotaging her mental health. What he didn't tell any of you is why he really threw me out, what he's been protecting. The first photo appeared on the screen, the basement in full view, the second kitchen, the dining table set for 2 with candles and wine glasses, the romantic setup. The room went dead silent. What is that? Bill asked, leaning forward to see the screen better. Mackenzie's basement apartment, the space she's been living in rent-free for 6 years. I clicked to the next photo. The calendar on the wall with a date circled and labeled, our anniversary. Patricia made a small sound, her hand going to her mouth. Next photo, the photoshopped wedding pictures. In the original, it was Landon and me on our wedding day. In Mackenzie's version, she'd cut me out completely and pasted herself in, wearing a wedding dress I'd never seen, standing next to Landon at what was clearly supposed to be their wedding. Oh my God, someone whispered. I think it was Jeffrey's wife. I clicked through more photos. The meal plans labeled romantic anniversary dinner and date night. The anniversary cards where Mackenzie had been practicing Landon's signature over and over, trying to forge his handwriting. Next photo. My actual wedding dress, hanging on the back of the basement door, altered to fit Mackenzie. The silence in the room was so complete, I could hear the kitchen clock ticking from the next room. This is out of context, Landon said, standing up. His face was bright red. These photos don't show the whole situation. Mackenzie, you don't have to listen to this. Sit down, Landon, Bill said. His voice had that tone, the one that meant he wasn't asking. Let her finish. I clicked to the next set of photos, the master bedroom. All our couple photos removed, replaced with photos of just Landon and Mackenzie arranged like couple photos. Romantic dinners, hiking trips, movie nights. Dozens of photos of the two of them positioned and framed like relationship photos. These were taken last week. Mackenzie has moved into the master bedroom and removed every trace of me from the house. More photos. The closet full of Mackenzie's clothes where mine used to be. The bathroom with her toiletries next to Landon's. Then I pulled up the journal entries. I'd typed out several to make them easier to read on the screen. These are from a journal I found in the master bedroom nightstand. Mackenzie's journal. I clicked to the first entry and read it aloud. March 15th. Today, Landon and I had breakfast together before he left for work. He made me laugh so hard I almost choked on my coffee. I'm so lucky to wake up next to him every morning. Patricia's face had gone completely white. Next entry. April 3rd. Landon was stressed about work, so I gave him a back rub. He said I always know exactly what he needs. These little moments remind me why our marriage works so well. Stop, Patricia said, her voice shaking. Stop reading that. But I didn't stop. May 8th. I'm planning something special for our anniversary. 2 years. I can't believe it's been 2 years already. September 28th. Carly got mad at me again today. I can see Landon getting tired of her. Soon he'll realize what I've known all along, that she doesn't belong here, that she never belonged here, that this house, this life, him, all of it was always meant to be mine. Rita had tears running down her face. David had his arm around her. I clicked to one more photo. The text screenshot from that first day when I'd confronted them about the basement. Mackenzie, we talked about this. You can't show her yet. I looked at Landon. You want to explain the word yet to everyone? You want to explain why you were discussing your daughter's fantasy of being your wife as if it were something that just needed better timing? Landon opened his mouth but nothing came out. His face was red, his hands shaking. How long have you known? Rita asked him, her voice breaking. How long have you known she thinks she's your wife? She doesn't think that, Landon finally managed. She's confused. She's processing trauma. Her therapist said what? Bill interrupted. Her therapist said it's okay for her to move into your bedroom and write journal entries about your marriage. It's more complicated than that, Landon said desperately. You don't understand the nuances of her psychological state. Dr. Foster has been very clear that the worst thing I could do is reject Mackenzie's coping mechanisms too abruptly. She has severe abandonment issues, and if I shut down her fantasy too quickly, it could trigger a serious mental health crisis. A mental health crisis? Jeffrey stood up. Landon, she's already in a mental health crisis. What you just described, that's not normal coping. That's delusion. How long have you known about this? Rita asked again. Landon looked at the floor. About a year, maybe 14 months. A year? Patricia's voice went shrill. You've known for over a year that your daughter thinks she's married to you and you didn't do anything about it? I've been trying to help her work through it gradually. By letting her move into your bedroom? Bill asked. By letting her drive your actual wife out of the house? Carly left because she couldn't handle Mackenzie's needs. Bullshit! The word came from Rita, and everyone turned to stare at her. Rita never cursed. You threw her out because Mackenzie manipulated you into it, because Mackenzie wanted her gone so she could have you to herself. During this whole exchange, Mackenzie had been sitting on the couch silent, but now she stood up, and instead of crying, instead of playing the victim like she always did, she looked at all of us with this calm, almost serene expression. I don't understand why everyone is so upset, she said. Her voice was steady, rational, like she was explaining something obvious to children. Carly was temporary. She didn't understand Dad like I do. She didn't know what he needed, how to take care of him properly. I'm the one who's always been here. Since I was 16, I've been here. I know him better than anyone. Mackenzie, sweetie, that's not appropriate, Patricia said, her voice shaking. He's your father, not your husband. Why not? Mackenzie looked genuinely confused by the distinction. Mom left. She didn't want us, but I stayed. I've been taking care of Dad for 6 years. I know his favorite foods, how he likes his coffee, what helps him sleep when he's stressed. Carly never paid attention to those things. She didn't really see him, because that's what a wife does, not a daughter, Rita said, her voice barely above a whisper. Mackenzie smiled then, not a happy smile, but one of those patient smiles you give someone who's just not getting it. You'll all understand eventually. We just need time. Once the divorce is final, and Carly's really gone, once things settle down, you'll see. You'll see how good we are together, how right this is. The room had gone from silent to dead quiet, the kind of quiet where you can hear your own heartbeat. Landon, Bill said, and his voice was hard in a way I'd never heard before. You need to get your daughter real help, professional help, not whatever quack has been telling you this is normal. This is not normal. This is dangerous. She's been in therapy, Landon said desperately. Dr. Foster is a licensed psychologist with a PhD in developmental trauma. She knows what she's doing. Does Dr. Foster know about the wedding dress? Jeffrey asked. Does she know about the journal entries where Mackenzie calls herself your wife? Landon didn't answer. Does she know Mackenzie has moved into your bedroom and is actively living out a fantasy where she's married to you? Still no answer. I pulled out the divorce papers from my bag and slid them across the coffee table toward Landon. I want my half of the house equity in cash within 30 days. Have your lawyer contact mine with a settlement offer, or this goes to court and gets even messier than it already is. Mackenzie's calm mask shattered. What? No! Everyone turned to look at her. You don't get to leave! Her voice went shrill, losing that eerie calm completely. She pointed at me, her whole arm shaking. You're supposed to leave when I say you can leave, not before! Mackenzie, stop! Landon reached for her, but she jerked away from him. I had a plan! She was shouting now, tears streaming down her face. But these weren't the practiced manipulative tears I'd seen before. These were real, frustrated, angry tears. I've been working on this for 2 years. 2 years of planning, of being patient, of waiting for exactly the right moment. You were supposed to just get fed up and leave on your own, and then Dad and I could have transitioned smoothly into being together, and the family would have understood eventually, and everything would have been perfect. She spun to face Landon. I did everything right. I was patient, I built it up slowly, I made you see how wrong she was for you, how much better I am, and she ruined it. She pointed at me again. She ruined everything by finding the basement too early. It wasn't time yet. I wasn't ready yet. You weren't ready yet. Mackenzie, please. Landon was pleading now, trying to grab her hands, but she was pacing, her movements jerky and frantic. I planned every detail, every single detail. The anniversary date, the dinners, the photos, moving my things into the bedroom gradually so you'd get used to it. I practiced your handwriting for months so I could sign cards the way you would. I altered the wedding dress so it would fit perfectly when the time was right, when you were ready to tell people. But she found it too soon, and now everyone's looking at me like I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy. I just love you. I love you more than she ever did, and you know that. The room was frozen. No one moved. No one spoke. Even Landon had gone completely still, his face pale as he finally seemed to see what everyone else was seeing. Patricia stood up, her whole body shaking. Landon, take her and leave. Both of you. Get out of my house right now. Mom, please, if you just let me explain. Out! Patricia's voice cracked. I don't want you here. I don't want to look at you. You let this happen. You knew this was happening, and you let it continue for over a year. You drove away a good woman who loved you because you were too much of a coward to face what your daughter really needed. Mrs. Patterson, please. Mackenzie's voice had gone small again, pleading. Please don't be mad at Dad. This isn't his fault. He was just trying to help me. He was just being a good father. A good father would have gotten you real help the second he realized you thought you were married to him, Bill said quietly. A good father would have set firm boundaries and found you a therapist who'd actually treat your delusions instead of enabling them. Landon grabbed Mackenzie's arm and started pulling her toward the door. She resisted, still crying, still trying to explain. You'll understand eventually. Everyone will understand. We just need more time. Dad, tell them. Tell them we just need more time. But Landon wasn't saying anything. He just pulled her through the living room, her words getting more frantic. This isn't over, Carly. Do you hear me? This isn't over. You can't just leave like this. I decide when you leave. I decide. The door slammed behind them, cutting off her voice mid-sentence. The silence that followed was heavier than anything that had come before. I closed my laptop and put it back in my bag. My hands were steady now. The shaking from earlier had stopped completely. Patricia had collapsed into a chair, her face in her hands. Bill stood behind her with his hand on her shoulder, looking about 10 years older than he had when I'd arrived. Rita came over and hugged me. She was crying, her whole body shaking. I'm so sorry, she whispered. We had no idea. We should have listened to you sooner. We should have questioned his story. It's not your fault, I said. We believed him. We thought you'd just left. He's very convincing. He convinced himself this was all normal. Jeffrey came over next. If you need anything for the divorce, character witnesses or whatever, we'll help, all of us. That was, he trailed off, shaking his head. I don't even have words for what that was. I looked at Patricia. She'd lifted her head and was staring at me with red, swollen eyes. I'm sorry, she said, her voice breaking. I'm so sorry for the things I said, for the way I treated you tonight. I thought you'd abandoned him. I know. That girl needs serious help. And Landon, she couldn't finish the sentence. I know, I said again. I stayed for another 20 minutes, answering questions, showing them more of the journal entries when they asked, explaining the timeline of everything that had happened. By the time I left, the whole family understood exactly what I'd been living with for the past 2 years. I walked out to my car in the cold night air, got in, and just sat there for a moment. My phone was already buzzing with texts from Landon, but I didn't read them. I didn't need to. For the first time in months, maybe years, I felt like I could actually breathe. The weight that had been pressing down on my chest since the night Landon threw me out was finally lifting. The family knew. They'd seen everything. They understood. And whatever happened next, whatever legal battles or financial negotiations lay ahead, I wouldn't be fighting alone anymore.